Taha Hussein and his generation were products of a scheme started since Muhammad Ali when he built modern Egypt, of sending talented young people to Europe to get educated and come back. So these were the seeds for the cultural life Egypt had. At the time, Egypt had like 15 million citizens. It was a smaller country. And those people who are great influencers on the culture and mindset and intellectual life in Egypt were used to travel, learn in France, in the UK, in other countries, and come back. The president was reimagining Egypt when he started, in general. He has ambitions to bring Egypt to be a world-class country. I said, rather than sending Egyptians abroad, you can bring it to everybody. He said, how? So I started talking about, there are the publishers around the world now, instead of just printing, they do digital content. And if we bring this is like the human knowledge is all out there. We can grab it and make it here, assemble it, make it available. And for knowledge, equity, and justice that Taha Hussein was breaching, we can make that available to every citizen, poor and rich. He said, how? I said, we just do this knowledge bank concept, bringing all journals that have the science and knowledge in economics and arts and medicine and engineering and education, whatever. Imagine all that in one place, from the reputable journals. So I'm talking about refreed material. And also, if we were to open that to general public, we might as well get them some stuff, but reputable stuff, like Britannica, like National Geographic, like Discovery, that there are serious publishers who wouldn't just pass anything. And this could be used by everybody, all ages, men and women, young and old, and so on. That was the birth of the idea. But he listened, and without that support, we couldn't have pulled it. So I went to all publishers. I went to Elsevier and Springer and Wiley and so many, and convinced them that we do that. It wasn't easy because they don't make their products available to 100 million people, but we managed at the end to find a business model to do that. Then I explained to the president, I said, can you please, sir, invite the CEOs of those people, because then they would see the seriousness of this. He actually invited them in the palace and sat with them for over an hour and a half. And that was November 2015. And then we launched it January 2016. When I joined the ministry, of course, I put a lot of K-12 material and content on it. Now all courses have been digitized, and that saved us during COVID-19, actually. Today, the LMS that we used for K-12 education has been given to higher education in 27 universities. Over 542 colleges of different disciplines are now building courses as we speak to populate the LMS. So you can see that by next summer, we will have a wealth of courses in medicine and engineering, and this is lovely. This is the dream. And imagine, now I'm talking to UNESCO about making that a global platform. Like, why only universities in Egypt? We could have professors imagine, all universities in all languages, So if I'm a student in medicine, I have my pick. I can look at any course I like, and all free, as Taha Hussein wanted. So knowledge is free, no boundaries. You can have, we have farmers with an iPad sitting in a field, barefooted, but having access to this great material. And that is beautiful. People who have skills and interest should not be stopped by anything from being the next Nobel laureates. That pleases me tremendously, is to see how much we have statistics of access to the EKB, and you can see that the largest number is from students in the K-12 system in villages. Those are the ones who appreciate this service more than anybody. Through EKB, Egyptians downloaded 500 million articles in the last 6 years, freely. Some people, even in the decision-making circles, used to make fun of that and say, you are buying cashews and caviar when we don't have proper sewage and blah, blah. I said, yeah, but building human minds is equally important to roads and trains and buildings, so let's not, it's not either or. And we had, so the road to convince people in Egypt with the project is also a big accomplishment. I think it's one of the most respectable projects from a political leadership point of view, really. So if anybody is interested in learning, at least those tools made it much easier. Today, it's still covered by the government, but at some point they said you have to find ways to generate money, at least to make it self-sufficient. Now, it's not easy because it was built as a service to people, so we can't ask people to pay for it. I don't want it to be a service for those who can. It's a dilemma. But now we found a way that there was a lot of know-how developed during building this project, that it became a consultancy service to other branches of government. For example, the Ministry of Health got inspired by the LMS we did in Ministry of Education and said, can we have the same learning management system because we want to train doctors for the board exam? And then they saw us do electronic exams, said we have to do this for doctors. So we made a complete solution of the LMS, the software itself, populated it with digital content for doctors, and then the exam platform. And then the Egyptian board exam for doctors is completely the product of the EKB team. Then after that, about 10 or 12 ministries are receiving services, from our Egyptian Central Bank to the Ministry of Interior to the military. The Egyptian Genome Project is hosted on it, the Open Access Project, the LMS. So what happens is EKB sells those services to government branches. For 10% margin, we put it to support the subscriptions, to take the burden off. We are still not at the making it even, of course, because it's not a business. But I think the project will be more sustainable if adopted by other countries, if it goes beyond the national borders. And I think it's ready to do that in the near future.